If you're leading through change, stepping into a new role, or questioning what comes next, this conversation will help you reframe uncertainty as a leadership invitation. Welcome, welcome everyone to the next edition of the Stay on Course podcast. Today I have Lin Coughlin, and she coaches C-suite leaders through high-stakes inflection points, helping them cut through complexity, align stakeholders, and lead bold strategic reinvention. She's a trusted advisor to executives and boards who want lasting impact when the pressure is the highest and decisions matter the most. Welcome, Lin, to the Stay on Course podcast.
Thank you, Julie. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And today I'm very excited about our topic. We're going to talk about leading change when the old you no longer works. But before I get started, I ask all of my guests, what is your favorite food?
Peaches,
Peaches. Okay. How do you like to eat peaches?
roasted,
Roasted peaches?
delicious. Try it sometime.
Oh my gosh. I am allergic to peaches.
Oh, no.
Yes, I am. And I could potentially eat them cooked, but raw never.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. I have a tree nut allergy which like shows up in fruits and it's really interesting.
Oh,
But
that's too bad. I'm
but I
sorry.
believe you cuz peach I can eat baked fruit. So, I mean, I think that baked would be good and you're
Can you drink peach nectar?
I don't
No,
do it. I just stay away
you
from
don't
all of that.
dare. Yeah.
I don't dare. So, tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now. What have you been up to before we get started?
Well, I'm actually up to trying to get a new business off the ground. Would you like to hear about it?
I would love to hear about it.
So, my idea is to provide leadership development opportunities, training and development to high potential women leaders in a series of 6 sessions per topic and to offer group coaching in the process. So it really becomes an opportunity to create a community, but more importantly, to share challenges, lessons learned, and to engage in even some peer-to-peer coaching that I facilitate as an executive coach for 20 years.
That sounds awesome.
I'm excited
Well,
about it.
I'm excited for you. And
Thank
today
you.
we're going to talk. This is a big change for you. So I would love for you to like lean into that a little bit. Leading change when the old you no longer works. What inspired this topic? What comes from your experience or what you've been doing? Why this is so important right now?
First of all, I spent the last 20 years of my near 30-year career in corporate America in operating roles in the C-suite, leading highly transformative change. And I got in the process, so for example, leading integrations that are the consequence of a merger or acquisition, leading downsizings, leading internal startups, leading growth businesses, turning businesses from the red to the black and then the hockey stick. And I became a student of what it takes technically, but also from a human standpoint to drive change. And I still to this day consider myself a student and I speak about it a lot. I coach. It's the core of what I coach. And it is a fascinating topic and I will remain a student of it until whenever I stop doing all this.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I love the curiosity. I always tell people that staying curious means that you're staying young too. As we're curious, we're staying in the energy of possibilities,
Oh,
the energy.
You're so right. The energy of possibility and its achievability.
Hmm. Yes.
That's what I like to talk about to people.
Yeah.
Possibility and its achievability.
Right. And using the word I wonder. I wonder if,
There you go.
I
There
don't
you
know,
go.
where did I
But
hear that?
you're right about curiosity though, because it really does to lead bold, transformative, disruptive change. Not only takes a thick skin, but it takes a high level of curiosity, inquisitiveness, explore, being willing to explore lots of different options to possibilities, and doing it in a very inclusive way.
Hmm. Yeah, which leads us to our first part of the story here, which is future state first.
Future state comes first. Future state comes first. And I think about leading change like you would leading a movement. And you start with what the possibility and its achievability could be, but particularly the possibility, the future state. And you put meat around those bones in a very inclusive way and answer the why, answer the how, and of course the what. And you build in the process a constituent of people who start to get interested in that possibility, in that future state. And then once you've put meat on those bones, you can start to work backwards to the current state.
Hmm.
Got the future state, and then you need to describe the current state and what the features, benefits, challenges, opportunities are, leverage points, that kind of thing. And then you assess the gap
Yeah.
from a planning and implementation standpoint.
Do you find that when you're leading change like this and you're trying to help people get into that future state, that they have a lot of
Pushback.
barriers?
Yes, yes. The human condition is to be averse to change. It's threatening for any
Yes.
number of reasons that I'm sure you know. But for an awful lot of people in organizational settings, it's threatening to their very jobs.
Exactly. Exactly. And what I don't understand is, as leaders, we're supposed to be replacing ourselves on the regular because that means that we've done our job. And I know that means sometimes getting out of the position you're in, but it means that you're going to be going into something new. But I don't think that a lot of leaders actually have that vantage point. They're holding on to dear life to the situation at hand, which really makes them adverse to change.
That's right. That's right. So I want to share something with you. As a leader in corporate America and leading and managing hundreds of people, but in some cases thousands of people, I made it a point to surround myself with people who had the potential of doing circles around me. Number one. Number two, I invested heavily in their development, but very strategically. And number three, I coached and mentored them very closely, which is sort of part and parcel of how I became ultimately started my own practice 20 years ago as an executive coach and strategic advisor,
Hmm.
focused on change and inflection points.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's great. It's fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun. What's the next ingredient for success?
Doing it in a human-centered way. And what I mean by that is that so many leaders are focused on performance, and appropriately so. But performance can't be the only criteria. Because going back to your earlier point about people being averse to change, you've really got to work hard to build a constituency, to get people excited about the possibility and its achievability. And you've got to work on the communications of that possibility over and over and over and over again, as if you were building a brand. And so that takes leading from the heart first then your head. It takes being sensitive to the feelings of others who might be threatened and who many, many times are legitimately threatened, and
It's true.
helping them to see the possibility when they can take ownership for its implementation.
Yeah, and something that I just thought about is like it really does affect them because if you look at the corporate America executive, that's all they've done probably most of their life. They don't know what they would do if it wasn't there, if their job wasn't there. Or they maybe haven't looked for a job in 17 years. Like these are very vulnerable places to be in life right now,
Yep.
especially. It's like,
Especially,
yeah, if you haven't looked for a job in 17 years, if you have no idea what it would be like to jump on your own, be on your own and be a consultant, especially as you age out of the system, there is an aging out of the system.
I know, I know.
And
I refuse to acknowledge it personally, but there is.
there is. There is. And you know what the age is? I hate to say this out loud, but I asked somebody as a like an HR person and I'm like, "What is the real age? When do they really age you out?" She goes, 55. 55 is the age out.
No, I refuse to acknowledge that.
Well, it could be 50, but you want to say 55? Let's go 55. It certainly isn't 60 or 65. I mean, there are rare instances I see people last. I mean, you can live inside of corporate America until you're 60. I'm not saying that you can't stay, right? But
I
I'm
know
just
you're right.
saying if you are edged out of a job and you're 59 or 60, it becomes very difficult. It really
Particularly at the
does.
top, particularly at the top, and particularly for women.
Yes. And you are at the top at 60. So at 60, you're going to be at the top. Like it's clear. Like in most people are. They're executive director, they're anywhere from associate director up at least, right?
Yep.
So and
Yes.
and then if you look at the corporate American landscape and you look at those kinds of jobs that they just get less and less as you get up within the ranks. So you know, for the younger people out there, it's always good. And this is why we're side hustling. This is why a lot of people are side hustling. They're sort of like, and this is part of like leading change. It's like being able to lead your own change on the opposite side of this to prepare yourself to what's happening, in front of you. So, because a lot of the people that listen to the podcast here are small business owners that are like leaving corporate America, jumping into their own business.
And as entrepreneurs, which is what I did, I left corporate America to start my own practice. And one of the first things, of course, you learn as an entrepreneur in transition is to think in terms of multiple sources of revenue,
Yes.
multiple sources of revenue. And that's what I'm doing with the start of this new business that I referred to.
Yeah. Another way, another line. And you know what's fun about being on this side of the fence is like you get to have
Right.
an idea and you get to execute on the idea. And hopefully, if you set your business up correctly, the lift to do something like you are going to do is not as big as it might have been as you're just starting a business.
That's exactly right. I've learned so much as now an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And it really has freed me, it's liberated me, it's made me so much more productive in my whole life.
Yeah. It's a real hard transition. I think I should do an episode just on that. The transition between corporate America and jumping into your own consultancy business.
Definitely do one on that topic because it's hard.
It is. It is. I was quitting every day, every Friday for a year. I think it
Were
was
you
actually,
really?
oh yeah, 2025. It was just in 2025 I was quitting every week because you know why and I think it's the rejection. It's, getting
Yes.
the no's. It's the getting the no's. So when you get the, nobody likes to get no's.
Talk about needing to become thick-skinned.
Yeah. This is this is a master class in leadership. If you need a master class, Start your own business.
You
There
got
you go.
that right, girl. You
That's
got that.
it. So, what else are we missing as far as leading change when the old you no longer works?
Well, we started to talk about the importance of being heart-centered.
Yes.
There's also the importance of being very self-aware. Again, when you're leading change and being able to relate to the concerns that people legitimately have to the potential of disruptive change to the status quo. Most of the time, the concerns are legitimate.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And they can be everything from a threat to your job security to an outright disagreement with a strategic intention and issues with a strategic intention. And what you need to do when you're leading change is become very adept at your influencing skills and again your ability to relate to the feelings of others.
Yeah.
Leading change is all about the personal side of it.
Yes.
80% of leading change, 80% of success comes from being able to cultivate trusting and trusted relationships. Did you know that 70% of change initiatives fail?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
70% of change initiatives fail. And they fail because number one, the champions of change don't get the buy-in at the outset. Number two, there isn't vigilant attention to execution. And number three, there is difficulty in course correcting. When you're leading change, you're in a very uncertain environment much of the time, and you've got to be able to pivot and adapt and be resilient and course correct quickly
Yeah.
and fail forward.
Fail forward. It's so interesting because as you look at bigger companies, I've worked for big companies. I've worked for like Johnson and Johnson, Novartis, and Bayer Healthcare. I've worked at big companies, and I've been part of these initiatives, the change initiatives, and it's so complicated
Yeah.
at those big companies, right? It's like, oh, the leadership team, the implementation team, the communications team, the I mean, there's a team for everything.
That's right. And it's
The-
cross-functional.
And the cross-functional team, you have your little team that you're working with, your change team. But getting all these people to agree and align is really complicated,
And
complex,
you know,
complicated.
that's exactly right, Julie. And you know when it's really complicated is in toxic cultures
Yeah.
where the politics are rampant. So I
Yeah.
find it's true.
Right.
In most environments that I work in with clients, there is an element, at least a small element of toxicity, which you've really got to have your eyes open to
Yeah.
as a change maker
Yes.
and very open to, and you've got to have the self-confidence to
Yep.
work it and to get, and in the process of planning and implementing change, changing your culture, committing to changing your culture. And
Yep.
so a big part of what I do when I work with organizations who need to envision change, plan for it, and implement it is when we get to an understanding of the nature of the change, it must be followed by codification of your cultural norms
Mm,
and values. If you don't do that, it's not going to work.
right.
It's not going to sustain itself.
Yeah. I I think it's very interesting, and I'm going to parallel this again to the small business owners, entrepreneurs that are listening, because
Good.
it's the stakeholders in big organizations. It's a stakeholder game. You know,
Yep.
you are aligning with stakeholders, but on the entrepreneur side, there's a whole other list of stakeholders that you have. And there is a whole planning to do the changes that you're making within your own company. We have referral partners and partners that we work with as small business owners. What we've done here on the other side of things is we've redesigned the game. If you do it right, you're redesigning the game. You're
Exactly
looking
right.
for you're looking for those teams, but they look different. They look different.
They
So,
look different and they behave differently.
oh, so differently.
The
Oh,
highly
so differently.
the highly functional teams behave very differently.
Yes. Highly functioning teams, and then the teams or the stakeholders on this side, most people when they start businesses, that toxic culture part of it, the bureaucracy part, that doesn't exist in the other world.
Yeah,
And so it's a
it's
different,
refreshing.
you're
It's refreshing
yeah, it's
actually.
refreshing. You're playing a whole different game.
Yeah, yeah. But when you have to go inside of organizations and
Yeah.
help organizations affect disruptive change in a positive way, oftentimes you need to work through a toxic culture.
Because why haven't they changed in the first place? Already you're probably in there because they should have changed 10 years ago.
You're probably right. You're
Because
probably right.
and that's the thing. It's like what got you here will not get you there.
You got
And
that right, girl.
there are disruptors within organizations and nobody likes them.
And yet they're the people that I love, that I am drawn to, that I'm oriented to. The disruptors really are the people who are the future of the organization. You just have to coach and mentor them and develop them very strategically so
Yes.
that they can do it positively.
Yes. And
Positively.
secret fact I'm giving you right now,
What's
audience
that?
listening on, the disruptors are the incognito entrepreneurs.
You got that right.
They are the ones. They're the hidden ones within the organization, and they're the first ones that people want to let go of.
When they can't deal with the possibility of change.
Yeah, when they try to implement a change and it doesn't go smoothly, because
Yeah.
what goes smoothly anyway? When you're disrupting, what goes smoothly? And the other thing is like as you're disrupting, you're also creating something brand new that maybe has not been done there before.
Game changing. That's the
Yeah.
idea.
There yeah. And so there has to be some level of patience and and just some sort of recognition that okay, if we do this, you're not going to get fired and it doesn't
You're
come out
exactly
right.
right. You're exactly right. And that's all about creating psychologically safe spaces, right?
Yeah.
For particularly those disruptors to raise their hands, to speak up, to offer their bold thinking, and to be heard.
Yeah. It's a tough place to be is to be I was called a trailblazer.
Were you really?
I
I'm not
was.
surprised, Julie. I can see that about you.
I was called a trailblazer in March and in April I was losing my job. So you
I
go
knew you were
figure.
going to say that. I knew
You,
you were going to say that.
that's how bad that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, right? Because it is, and that is like something I haven't even said. So now everyone in podcast land has heard that. But that is really the truth. Because I continuously was trailblazing, continuously innovative, and people didn't really like me. There were a certain percentage of people that liked me, and then everyone else that didn't.
They couldn't keep up with you, Julie. They couldn't keep up with you. That's what happens.
I know.
That's what happens. I became a very controversial, not controversial, well, yeah, somewhat controversial figure in corporate America at these very large financial services organizations that I worked at that were very conservative and where change was, it was just not in any way tolerated. And I was the burr under the saddle in those environments. And I had to learn in these male-dominated environments how to influence others, particularly those who are averse to change, and become great at communicating what the possibility could be.
Yeah. You were a salesperson.
That's right. I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
I don't think that people realize what sales is. You're changing mindsets. You're selling your idea, you're selling your concept, and when people buy in, that's you closing them on the deal.
That's
So
exactly right. That's exactly
exactly.
right. I
It's like,
never thought of it that way, Julie.
yeah, there it is. And so everyone who's in corporate America who has ever sold an idea to somebody, guess what? You're in the game of sales.
You know that.
So, Lynn, this has been an amazing conversation. Where can my audience find out more about what you're working on and how to get in contact with you?
Well, my website is www.greatcircleassociates.com. You can contact me on my email, which is Lin, Lin, dot Coughlin, Coughlin, at Great Circle Associates, plural.com. And I welcome the contact, even if it's just to have a fun conversation about what it takes to be a great leader.
Amazing. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for being a guest on the Stay on Course
It was
podcast.
my honor and pleasure, Julia. You're a rock star.